Okay, so you'll drop 2 grand on an LV Neverfull handbag, but you think investing in yourself isn't worth it? Trust me, if you can afford your lifestyle, you can afford growth. You're simply choosing comfort. Today, we're talking about one of the most expensive sentences you will ever say. I can't justify spending that on my personal growth. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why that sentence is costing you more than you think, where it actually comes from, and the mindset shift that changes how you make decisions about money and yourself. Welcome to video 3 of the Broke versus Abundant Energy series, where we get into the real reasons why your outer wealth and inner abundance are not expanding the way you know they could be. Because it's never just about the money. It's about who you are and how you're showing up in your life. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you have low self-worth, it's affecting your bank account too. It is all connected. Everything's connected. And that is exactly what this series is about. Shifting the way you think, decide, and move so that your life and wealth can finally expand at the same time. I'm Angie Hawkins, the Inner Glow Coach, and I help successful on paper women stop playing at 80% and expand their inner and outer wealth so their life feels as good as it looks. And stay until the end because I am going to give you 2 action steps today. And if you're new here, all of my videos have at least 1 action step at the end so that you can immediately start taking action in your everyday life. Because information is everywhere, but that doesn't change anything in your life. Nothing changes without massive action. And that's how we go from knowing to glowing. Have you ever talked yourself out of something that could have changed your life, but you talked yourself out of it because you couldn't justify the cost? Not because you didn't have the money, but because somewhere deep down, you didn't believe that you were worth it. And if this is you, I've been there too, and it's not a budget problem. Because let me guess, you tell yourself, I'll invest in myself when I have more money. I'll invest in myself when things settle down. And this is my favorite, I'll invest in myself when the time is right. And okay, that's cool, but how is that working out for you? Because the time is never right. Things never settle down. You never have the money. Broke energy isn't about how much money you have in your bank account. It's a scarcity mindset. And the scarcity mindset thinks there's never enough, I don't deserve more, and I need to play it safe. And this doesn't just show up in your money and how you spend, but in everything. So for example, you ordered a peppermint mocha and got a lavender matcha instead. So now you're sipping on something you didn't even want because you didn't want to be a burden because the line was long and the cafe was busy, and it's okay, it's fine. Or you pick the restaurant you want and then you start saying, but I'm totally fine with anything else if you guys don't like it. Or if someone suggests something else, you eat at a restaurant that you don't even like. Or the guy you've been dating cancels you on the last minute for the 3rd time, and you respond, no worries, when it actually really effing annoys you. And it should, because you don't deserve to be treated like that. Because again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're doing these things, then you'll probably also drop $200 on a dinner, but then spiral over a coaching program that could 10x your income. Because this is what I want you to understand. Every single decision you make is an investment. So when you say, I can't justify spending that on myself, you're deciding to invest in staying exactly where you are. You're literally funding your own stagnation. And if this is you, I am not shaming you. I totally get it because I used to be exactly like this, because that's how I know how all of this works. The first time that I seriously invested in myself was in early 2018 because I had decided that I wanted to move to Hawaii and be a writer. And this was the first time in my life that I had really taken agency over my life, because in early 2017, my boyfriend broke up with me, my dad died, and I had spent a lot of time thinking about the meaning of life, the purpose of life, what I actually wanted out of my own life. And I was in my late 30s, and that was the first time in my entire life that I actually considered, what do I want? Because I had always been a victim of life, played a victim to life, and thought that I was helpless against things that were happening to me and that I had to follow the rules of society. But I was finally taking agency over my life, and I was like, what do I want? And I decided, but it was terrifying. So I decided that I wanted to move to Hawaii and be a writer, but then I didn't do anything about it because it was too scary to take any action. So I signed up for this. This is when I lived in Chicago. It was a local motivational seminar, which was totally lame, and that's a whole story in itself, so I'm not going to go into that. But the good thing about the lame motivational seminar in Chicago is that I met a girl there who a few months later was going to a motivational seminar in Denver that had Gary Vee and Tony Robbins. And I was like immediately drawn to the idea of that. I was like, I need to go there and get a kick in the butt of motivation. So the very next day, I went to the website to buy my tickets for the seminar, and there were 3 tiers of tickets. And it was in an arena. I don't know if you've ever been to Denver. I don't even remember the name of the arena. I think they normally have rodeos there, but it was like your average arena. There was the floor and then the seating around it. And so the way the ticket tiers worked, there was general admission, which were the stadium seats. And I think they were like $30-$40, so like a reasonable amount. And then the next tier was floor seating, and then there was a special lunch event. It was Q&A with Gary Vee. So Gary Vee was a speaker, but then for this second tier, there was also like a special lunch that they were having with like just those tier of tickets and Gary Vee, and it was a Q&A with Gary Vee. So that was $500. And then the next tier was a meet and greet with Tony Robbins. Well, it was like first or second row seating on the floor, and a meet and greet with Tony Robbins where you could meet him and get your picture taken with him. And that was $2,000. So this was at a time where I had very low self-worth. So immediately I was like, oh, I'm just going to get general admission. But there was like a part of me that really wanted to play at a higher level, because it's like, I need to make changes in my life, and I know I can't do it playing small. I need to play at a higher level. So initially, I only bought the Q&A with Gary Vee option for $500, which I say only, but that was like terrifying at that time because I didn't even feel deserving of that. I was only doing it so that I would be playing at a higher level. And then, I bought the ticket about 2 months before the event actually happened. And then about a month before the event, I got this intuition hit. Upgrade your ticket to the Tony Robbins tier. And this was at a time that I knew I had strong intuition, but I largely ignored it. So that's exactly what happened. I got this intuition hit to upgrade my ticket. Oh no, I changed my mind. I didn't ignore it initially. There was like a customer service email on the confirmation. So I emailed them, hey, how do I upgrade my ticket? And they responded with a phone number. And I got the email, and then I hit delete. So that's when I ignored my intuition. I was like, nope. And then a few weeks later, maybe only a week later, it was like my intuition was punching me in the face. Upgrade your ticket. So I was like, fine. So I got the email out of my trash and I called the number. And you guys, it was so terrifying because I felt like such an imposter. I was almost certain that the person on the other end of the phone just knew I was a fraud and wasn't deserving of meeting Tony Robbins or sitting in the first or second row. It was so painful to upgrade my ticket. It was also very painful to spend that amount of money on myself. It literally made me sick. And then the day of the event came, and now I'm the kind of person, like, I'll go to anything, do anything, by myself, with other people, whatever. I was so afraid of going to this event by myself that I almost didn't go. The only reason that I went is because I had invested $2,000 in the ticket, and I couldn't, it was hard enough to spend the $2,000, but it was even harder to accept that I might have to throw the $2,000 in the trash. So I was like, okay, I like hyped myself up. I was like, fine, I am going. And it was, I won't get into all of the details, but it was like such an amazing experience. And the best part about it is that it made me feel deserving of being in the first and second row, meeting Tony Robbins, shaking his hand, because it wasn't even about shaking his hand or meeting him. It was the fact that I stepped up, played at a higher level, and proved to myself that I could do it. And this is why I'm so big on taking massive action, because it literally shows your brain that I can do this. And when you show your brain, like, here's evidence that I can do this, there are no excuses. So after that moment, I had no more excuses about playing at a higher level. And there's so many other examples that I can tell you. But the short version is I now budget at least $10,000 a year on coaching or somehow growing myself, because I am a coach, but coaches also have coaches, because the learning and growing never ends. And you may be thinking, but I don't have $10,000. I can't afford that. Well, guess what? I used to think that too, but it works the opposite way that you think it does, because you invest the money. My income has like almost tripled since I started investing in myself. And it's because when you play at a higher level, your earning income matches that. So there's a huge trust factor in this, because you have to trust the process. But I used to think that too. And now it's like no problem to budget it in. It's like when you move, and this is all about being an abundant mindset. When you move, you just trust that the universe or whatever you believe in just opens up all of these opportunities for you to be at this higher level. It's all about being in that energy. And on that note, abundant energy doesn't mean being reckless with money, because just to be clear, I'm not saying go spend money on any coach or any program, or go spend $100,000 on a coach. You absolutely need to do your due diligence and figure out who is reputable and not a grifter, because trust me, there are so many scam artists out there right now. And even for the people who are reputable, like, for example, I'm not a good fit for everyone. Like, it's vulnerable work, so you need to find someone who's a good fit for you. So you absolutely need to do your due diligence. Just like if you were buying a house or a car, like, you would actually be doing the research and making sure it's the right fit for you. So again, abundant energy doesn't mean being reckless with money. It means understanding that you are your greatest asset. It asks a totally different question than a scarcity mindset, because a scarcity mindset is asking, can I justify this? But an abundant mindset is asking, what does staying the same cost me? What does another year of these same patterns cost me? What does another year of under-earning my potential cost me? What does another year of waiting cost me? And this brings us directly into our action steps, because action step number 1, early on in my growth journey, I had a mentor, and this was at a in-person healing intensive. He asked us to actually do the math, because we each had something that we were working on. And because I used to have this limiting belief that I didn't deserve to be loved. So I think that's what I was working on. Let's just use that as an example. So the exercise was do the actual math and calculate how much monetarily this has cost you in your life. How much has having that belief cost you in your entire lifespan? So just thinking about, because this was back when I worked in corporate America, so just thinking about the jobs that I had that I didn't negotiate my salary, I didn't ask for a raise, I didn't get the promotion, I didn't apply to different jobs, I wasn't taking risk and I wasn't betting on myself. I think I calculated at that time, it was like millions of dollars. And that was just the fixed amount that I had missed out on. Like, think of if I had invested that, if I had actually like taken those risks and been playing at a higher level all of that time and had earned $1 million more or whatever it was, and then invested that, I would already be a multimillionaire. So your first action step, do the math. Whatever this belief is that's causing you to be like, yeah, I can't justify that. Calculate how much that has actually cost you. And I know it's like kind of arbitrary, but there are certain situations where you could be like, well, if I would have spent $2,000 on this coaching program that could have 10x to my income, then it's like 10x your income. So do the math. It actually is a huge wake-up call. So that's action step number 1. Action step number 2. And action step number 1 is something you have to set aside time for. But action step number 2, I want you to do this immediately after watching this video. Think of one thing that you've been talking yourself out of, a course, a coach, an experience, anything. And just ask yourself, am I saying no because it's not right for me? Or am I saying no because I don't believe I'm worth it? Because those are two totally different things. And asking yourself that question isolates those things. Because if it's not the right fit for you, that's a totally legit answer, because not everything is for everyone. But if you're saying no because you don't believe that you're worth it, then that is the thing. And you think it's protecting you, but it's actually holding you back and keeping you playing small. And again, the thing that you may be wanting to invest in, it doesn't have to be huge. Like, don't waste money on things that are not a good fit. So this is actually a good question for anything you invest in, but always isolate, is it just not right for you, or is it because you're not worth it? So that is action step number 2, and that is something that you can easily implement today. And if you're ready to actually shift into an abundant mindset and not just understand it, but live it, that's exactly what we do inside the Inner Glow Overflow. It's a 6-month private coaching experience for the woman who looks successful on paper, but still feels like something is missing. So we work on your money, identity, and your energy all at the same time, because they're all connected. But we also do the practical work, like building a real budget and saving strategy, and the deeper inner work, like rewriting your money stories and limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck. So it's not just the mindset, and it's not just the money strategy, it's both, which is why the results actually stick. So by the end of 6 months, your life doesn't just look good, it actually feels as good as it looks, and your bank account, your confidence, and the energy that you bring into any room. So the link is in the description if you're interested in that. And if you're ready to go deeper, then watch the next video, video 4 of the Broke versus Abundant Energy series, because we're going to be talking about opportunities versus risk and how being too risk avoidant is costing you. So I will see you in video 4.